Welcome to Amplify 2021, a community concert celebrating the women of Maestra and supporting their mission to promote equity in music. Featuring the women who make the music, Maestra members from around the world. And appearances by some of your favorite Broadway stars. And now, please welcome your hosts.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you tonight, hosting Maestra's spring fundraiser, Amplify 2021. We are coming to you via Zoom from a pixelated Plaza Hotel. I'm Andréa Burns.
And I'm Brooks Manuel Miranda.
Wow. Does Lynne know you've adopted his name?
Well, I like to think that Lynne adopted me. He can't be everywhere. He needs me to help him with all of his appearances.
Of course. You know, I can't wait to hear you rap. You look great, by the way. You're thriving during quarantine.
The word you're looking for is masculine.
Funny you're starting there, because tonight we're here to celebrate women.
Right. And I should tell you that you're my favorite woman. I'm just going to get that out of the way right away. I've loved you and adored you ever since we first met, and I heard you sing when we did Songs for a New World together.
Yes, we go way back. And you know that I adore you. And there's nothing better for me than watching you send audiences into hysterics.
Oh, that's perfect, because I don't want any notes from you tonight.
But tonight isn't about us. It's about Maestra.
Yes, I know. We are celebrating women, musical women. I'm a big fan.
Maestra.
Not maestro.
It's Maestra.
I said no notes.
They're the advocacy group which gives support, visibility, and community to the women who make the music in musical theater.
I know so many gifted women, composers, lyricists, orchestrators, musicians, arrangers, conductors, music contractors. I also know you, Andréa.
Wait, are you including me in the gifted women or excluding me?
I can't believe you'd even ask that.
Anyway, even though Broadway is dark, Maestra has been a shining light by offering virtual technical workshops and support. What you may not know is that these virtual classes aren't just for members, but for anyone who wants to participate.
And what better time than during a pandemic to learn a new skill? For instance, I've been learning Italian. Vorrei un gelato, per favore.
Good start. Tonight, we're sharing Maestra's story with our community, our supporters, and you, our distinguished viewers at home.
We will hear personal testimonies from members about the impact Maestra has had in their lives, and we will hear all about the new mentorship initiative.
We'll hear songs from Broadway friends who will represent esteemed Maestra members with their performances, and Her Royal Highness Bernadette Peters will bless us with a message of hope.
Please consider donating to this important organization as you watch this free broadcast, and join us after the finale to continue the party.
And now, to kick things off, let me introduce my friend and the founder of Maestra, the incomparable Georgia Stitt. Brooks, how do you say start the party in Italian?
Vorrei un gelato, per favore.
Close enough. Take it away, Georgia.
I remember the first time that I worked for a female composer. I was an intern at the Goodspeed Opera House, and I got to work on a Janine Tesori musical. That was the first time that I remember being in a room where I wasn't the only female musician on the team. It was pretty astounding. The energy of that experience was different for me. I just remember I could be that there is someone who looks like me that is doing that. And I remember the command with which she spoke in rehearsal. And I also remember backstage talking about things like getting our eyebrows waxed and like women things that I just had never, I had always had my professional life and my sisterhood of other women out in the world. And that was the first time that I felt them in the same space. I remember one time when I was in graduate school, Jenny Gearing was also in graduate school, and I remember walking down the street with her talking about a composer opportunity, something that we both should apply for. And I remember having a conversation about whether or not there was room for both of us. That was the first time that I thought, oh, if they're only going to pick one woman, is it going to be you or is it going to be me? And I had never had that experience with any of my male colleagues. I remember walking away from that experience thinking, is it possible that there's not room for both of us? Is it possible that there's only room for one woman? But along the way, I met so many other women who were talented and who were skilled and deserved to be there too, that I thought, we've got to blow this theory up. This can't possibly be true. There's a woman named Shoshana Greenberg who is a music theater historian, and I reached out to her and said, do you know, is there a timeline? Does this exist? She had written an article about female composers for another publication, and she said, well, I know a little bit about it, but I don't. So together, the two of us began looking at the research. We built the timeline, which is a timeline of women composers on Broadway. And it starts right around the early 1900s, the turn of the century, with a lot of women that were working in what we think of as the Irving Berlin years, you know, just sort of the revues and the Ziegfeld Follies and those sorts of things. And then Kay Swift in 1931 was the first woman to write a complete score all by herself. And then there's a gap. And there, in what we call the golden era of musical theater, there is only really Mary Rodgers for about 40 years, until the early 70s when you get Carol Hall and Mickey Grant. Now there are many. It is really interesting to me, that's the thing that the timeline revealed, was the gap where when we think of Broadway's golden era, there really were no women composers. When you see who's on the timeline and you see who's missing from the timeline, it really makes you think about who got to speak and who didn't, and why were women's voices silenced? Why were women of color silenced? What Maestra is trying to do is look at what the history was, change the problems, fix them so that more women have access, more women are allowed to tell their stories, and more audiences get to hear the diversity of stories that can be told when you have everybody participating in the process. Maestra started because I was working on Sweet Charity. We were challenged by our director, Lee Silverman, to hire an all-female band. And it was really, really hard to hire an all-female band of women who were skilled, who could work at the off-Broadway level, who were members of the union. And we called many people trying to get resources for these women. And in the course of doing that crowdsourcing, I started in a spreadsheet of who the women were, what their contact information was, what instrument they played, why they weren't available. When the job finally was staffed, I had this resource of women, music directors, players, that people started writing me and saying, can you share that spreadsheet with me? Can you share that information with me? That was when I started to think about how we could build a network, how we could link these women together. We officially became a 501c3, and suddenly there was a board of directors in place, and all these people that we had to report to. I thought, oh, this is way bigger than me. This has become a much bigger organization than just me and my spreadsheet, me and my little project. And it's been thrilling to watch it grow. It's grown exponentially in the last year. I'd like to think that there is a future version of the industry where you wouldn't think of hiring a music team without checking the Maestra directory. It would become second nature. That we have to make sure that we're getting lots of different voices onto the team as we're creating our show, our score, our theater. That's my hope.
Hi, I'm Helen Park, and I wrote music and lyrics and produced the music for the Broadway-bound musical K-pop. Our show centers around a K-pop idol named Mui, a woman whose turbulent search for self, happiness, and peace forms the emotional core of the musical. As a woman and as an Asian woman, I can tell you that ferocious outside pressures, numerous misconceptions, and a world hell-bent on putting you into narrow boxes make Mui's quest a deeply common one. In the song you're about to hear, Phoenix, I wanted to create an empowerment anthem to inspire women to believe that we can rise from any hardships we're going through. The phoenix symbolizes hope, renewal, rebirth, immortality, resurrection, solitude, and grace. And graced we were that a singular actress originated and embodied the character of Mui with unending expertise, depth, and complexity. Ashley Park's performance in our off-Broadway production always gave me chills and left the audience with tears and serious goosebumps. I'm so honored to present to you the song Phoenix from K-pop, sung by the incomparable, singularly talented Ashley Park.
Said goodbye 인사를 하고 teary-eye 흐르는 눈물은 머금고 너를 보는 last time Reset my phone 혼자라는 게 I'm on my own 어색하고 겁이 나는 이 밤 Feels like the first time I won't give up, no way, 'cause I'm unstoppable. Don't wanna hear you say that it's impossible, no. 난 지지 않아, 괜찮을 거야. I'll show ya, just sit back and watch me climb. Hit the top one more time. I'm getting back the strength you took from me. I had to cut you out, but now I'm finally free. And I'm gonna rise so high, 'cause I'm feeling so alive. It's time to break away, just like a phoenix I'm reborn from the decay. Now I'm here to stay. I can finally feel the breeze again. I can almost taste the air. Just sit back and watch me climb. Hit the top one more time. I'm getting back the strength you took from me. I had to cut you out, but now I'm finally free. And I'm gonna rise so high, 'cause I'm feeling so alive. It's time to break away, just like a phoenix I'm reborn from the decay. Now I'm here to stay.
Hi, my name is Kristy Norter. I'm a woodwind doubler in the New York City area, and I've played just about every kind of gig in New York. Broadway, these days you could see me on the Tina Turner musical, and hopefully you will again soon. And I've had a really good career on shows, both as a chairholder and also as a sub. I have been in jazz bands, I've been in wedding bands, Radio City, Christmas show, you name it. I'm really proud of my accomplishments as a musician, but I wanted a little more. My family is a bunch of math nerds. It speaks to me. Spreadsheets, Excel, details, paying people, contracts. you name it. I really had a passion for it. But as a musician, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to break into that particular scene. Enter Maestra and Georgia Stitt. So I invited her out to lunch, and we started talking. And we started talking about the problems, and we started talking about numbers. I had shared some research that I had done, and she shared some research that she had done, and it strongly reinforced my belief in general about diversity and something that I've tried to include as a contractor. Yes, we need to hire new people. Yes, we need to hire people who have not been allowed to sit at the table up until now. However, to fix the problem, what we truly need to do is identify people who have the talent so that they can learn the skills that they need in order to succeed in this industry and in this business. And that's where real change is made, because it's not just putting them on one show, it is including them in the scene so that they do so well on one gig that other people wish to hire them because they are the right person for the job. So anyway, I told Georgia I wanted to be a contractor, and she was like, well, then be a contractor. And I was like, okay. And lo and behold, I get a call and an interview for 6 on Broadway. I was on 50th Street and 8th Ave, and I was walking with a friend, and I saw that I had a voicemail, and I listened to it, and I went, oh my God, and I just started crying because it was sort of a dream come true, and truly I could not have done that without Georgia. The change and the difference she's been making for women in this industry, it's just been astounding. So thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Maestra. And have a great night.
My name is Dionne McClain-Freeney, and I'm a proud member of Maestra. Something powerful is rising from the deep. I'm a musician, composer, lyricist, choral director, music director, arranger, and teaching artist. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. My music journey started in the United Methodist Church I grew up in. There were lots of kids, so there were lots of choirs, and I either sang in them or played for them, including the men's choir. Obviously, I was the accompanist. My first music gig was playing Christmas carols as background music during a dinner for seniors. I was paid $50 and fed dinner, and at like 11 or 12 years old, that was huge. The first Broadway show I ever saw was The Wiz with the original cast, and I was blown away. I had no idea at that point that years later I was going to be writing for musical theater. Currently, I'm a member of the BMI Lehman Engel Musical Theater Workshop. I've written music and lyrics for 3 plays, including an adaptation of a children's book about a Jamaican boy, something very close to my heart. I've also been a music director for several productions and workshops, which I really love because it helps me think about my work. I joined Maestra in 2018, and I remember coming to the meetings with huge imposter syndrome. I was sitting in this room with some of the most brilliant and talented women I had ever met, including people like Lynn Ahrens and Kirsten Childs and Georgia Stitt, who pulled me in, and I cannot thank her enough for that. When the pandemic shut everything down, Maestra did the opposite and ramped up, starting with its technical workshops. And as soon as I heard about them, I had already planned to take several of them because they were master classes. I did not plan to teach one of them, but I jumped at the chance to talk about Black sacred music. This music is everywhere. The creators of gospel music were Black. Its early pioneers were Black women. Its practitioners crossed over into the mainstream, and the music has influenced secular entertainers from Elvis to Frank Sinatra. It was important for me to share what I know about Black sacred music and gospel, because if Black history is American history, then Black sacred music is American music history. And as a Black woman, I'm also really grateful for Maestra providing opportunities for Black women musicians to come together to share their experiences and to offer ways to make sure there are fewer occurrences of being the only Black woman in the room, and partnering with other organizations to make sure there are more Black and brown people in the room. So please support Maestra generously, vigorously, because they walk it like they talk it.
What a love revolution.
Britt Bonney here. I'm a music director and arranger and composer in New York. I grew up in Asbury Park, where my father was adamant that I would learn about Bruce Springsteen and about Broadway. Every year we would take these big day trips to New York to see a Broadway show. One of those shows was The Sound of Music, the revival with Rebecca Luker. And it was the first time I remember looking up at the marquee and thinking, what if I come back here when I grow up?
Long road ahead, long road behind. Tough on the feet, tougher on the mind.
And I thought, well, I would do music, so I'd be a conductor. But my child's image of a conductor was largely drawn from Bugs Bunny, and I didn't connect to it at all. By the time I met Georgia, I'd already been working for a few years, mostly as a music assistant. I realized that I didn't know any women who were at that next level, doing what I wanted to do. I knew of some of them, Mary Rachel Campbell, Carmel Dean, but I didn't really have a roadmap for what it would look like to stay in the business for the long haul. And it was at that point that I went to Maestra. And there were these incredible women of all ages and all experience levels. And just even in that first meeting, I saw what it could look like. A few months after that, Georgia recommended me for a gig at Signature Theater in DC. They were doing a production of a show called Girlfriend by the fabulous Todd Almond. It's a rock show. It calls for an all-female band. And the director, Matthew Gardner, was looking everywhere for this all-female band, and his colleagues were telling him, this is never gonna happen. They don't exist. You will not find them.
When you said to me, you are not so.
So we got our band, and my very first week of rehearsal, we were performing at a donor event, and I was so excited to be in charge of the music. I walked in with my little binder, and a well-meaning gentleman turned to me and said, "Oh, honey, are you filling in today?" Individually, little things like that aren't a big deal, but in aggregate, they start to make you feel like you don't belong. And that is where the community part of Maestra makes a huge difference. That you have these women in your life telling you, I've been there, you're not crazy, you do belong. The amount of skills required to be a music director is patently absurd. You have to be a great player, you have to be a great teacher, you have to be an engineer, you have to be an arranger, you have to be a great manager of people and workloads and priorities, and often you have to do those things all at the same time. It's a lot of hats to wear, and Maestra is currently creating this stockpile of resources where people can go to get the skills that they need so that up-and-coming women musicians, transgender musicians, gender nonconforming musicians can go and build these skills so that when the opportunity comes, they are ready. And I'm so grateful. And so grateful for the chance to tell you about it and thank Maestra and Georgia and Mary Mitchell and everyone for their ongoing work that chips away at these invisible barriers between women and these jobs and broadens the image of what a conductor can look like.
Hi everyone, I'm Annastasia Mitchell. I'm the writer of Hadestown, which is a musical that has had many lives, but most recently we were up at the Walter Kerr Theater on Broadway. Hadestown is based on Greek mythology and it centers around the love story of Orpheus and Eurydice, who are played on Broadway by the stunning Reeve Carney and Eva Noblezada. We're so lucky we're gonna get to hear these guys sing for us a song from the first act. It's a love song. It's called All I've Ever Known. It's a song about cosmic love, the inexplicable rightness of the love between these two characters that they're very different from each other, but they're drawn together by cosmic forces. And so please welcome the cosmic forces that are Reeve Carney and Eva Noblezada singing All I've Ever Known.
I was alone so long, I didn't even know that I was lonely. Out in the cold so long, I didn't even know that I was cold. Turn my collar to the wind. This is how it's always been. All I've ever known is how to hold my own. All I've ever known is how to hold my own. But now I wanna hold you too. You take me in your arms and suddenly there's sunlight all around me. Everything bright and warm and shining like it never did before. And for a moment I forget just how dark and cold it gets. All I've ever known is how to hold my own. All I've ever known is how to hold my own. But now I wanna hold you, now I wanna hold you close. I don't wanna ever have to let you go. Now I wanna hold you tight. I don't wanna go back to the lonely life.
I don't know how or why, or who am I that I should get to hold you? But when I saw you all alone against the sky, it's like I'd known you all along. I knew you before we met, and I don't even know you yet. All I know is you're someone I have always known. you and I have always known. And I don't even know you, now I wanna hold you close. I don't wanna ever have to let you go.
Suddenly the sunlight bright and warm.
Suddenly I'm holding the world in my arms.
Say that you hold me forever. Say that the wind won't change on us. Say that we'll stay with each other. And it will always be like this.
I'm gonna hold you forever. The wind will never change on us. Long as we stay with each other, then it will always be like this.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you, Britt, Dionne, and Kristy, for sharing your stories. I learned so much, namely that women helping women makes the world go round.
Yes, it does. Also, money. Money makes the world go around, and I am looking at so many generous donations right now that have come in. Thanks to everyone who has contributed so far. It is greatly appreciated.
And there's still time to do more.
So much time.
Almost as though time has no meaning.
Well, I don't know about that.
Like the days leading to today are exactly like the days stretching before us into the future.
I've never been more productive.
Time heals everything.
Go to vaccines.
My time of day is the dark time.
You would be a great Sky.
I remember sky.
Andréa, it's going to be okay. Now, speaking of remembering, what were you up to when this whole pandemic began?
Oh, on March 12th, I had a work session with the creative team of a Broadway show to go in as a replacement in the fall. So I left the session feeling great, thinking I had a job. And an hour later, Broadway closed. What about you?
Well, I closed on a house, which is a great thing.
Closed.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, I closed on the house right when the world closed down, and it was March 6th, and we had to get the renovations done within the beginning of the pandemic, which was, interesting to say the least, but we're here.
Yes, and you had a wonderful project to work on, which was a blessing. And the thing that amazes me is that throughout the last year, with all of these challenges, Maestra grew. So while Broadway and theaters across the country closed up, Maestra welcomed new members. More people signed up for virtual workshops, more mentorship duos formed, and more volunteers jumped in to help.
That's why I'm here. I want to help. I want that next great musical to be written.
Perfect. So let's hear from some people aiming to do just that. Here is Maestra's mentorship leader, Meg Zervulis.
Hi everyone, I'm Meg Zervulis and I am the co-chair of the Student Maestras Committee along with Maddie Wu. I am so excited to be here with you this evening to share some of our achievements from this past year. Some highlights include the Maestra Composer Collective, the Student Maestras Collaborative Playlist, the Holiday Hangout, fireside chats with professional members from the Student Maestras Facebook community, and the inaugural year of our mentorship program. When discussing potential programming for this year, a constant theme amongst my colleagues on the committee was the concept of paying it forward. Many of us are part of the industry thanks to a special mentor who has uplifted us and welcomed us into the profession, and we wanted to pay that back. We had 78 total applicants, and they hailed from 5 different continents, so it's been amazing to witness the widespread maestras across the globe. Our 36 mentees and 31 mentors represent a wide range of interests, from music directors, composers, arrangers, orchestrators, pit musicians. They come from many geographic locations, age ranges, and backgrounds. It's a beautiful community. In the effort to shine the light on the inaugural year of our mentorship program, up next is a sneak peek into a mentorship session between mentee Nicole Rebolledo and mentor Kat Sherrell. Hailing from New Mexico, Kat Sherrell is a pianist, music director, arranger, composer, and author. Her recent projects include Hamilton on Tour, where she was the music associate, and a collaboration with Natalie Wilson on a song cycle about suffragettes. A resident of Colombia, South America, Nicole Rebolledo is an aspiring composer and an academic who is always interested in music related to other topics. Her recent projects include music for the contemporary dance, pieces for flute solo, and incidental music for the play entitled The Light on Us. Even though they've never met in person, Kat and Nicole have been meeting virtually every month since November. Here they are to talk about their experience in the mentorship. Take it away, Kat and Nicole.
So, hi, Nicole. So, things I don't actually know about you. How did you first start doing music?
Well, I always liked music since I was a little kid. My mom says I used to sing about everything and make up songs. My aunt, she lived in New York, and she could perceive I liked it. So she sent me a PSR, and Yamaha keyboard, and that's when my parents find out that it was more than enjoying as a listener, but that I was more interested. I started with viola, playing viola and grammar and music theory lessons. And then after, when I finished high school, I could have chosen anything for study because I did very well in the ICFES. It's like a test. And I decided to study music.
How did you end up in the Maestra mentoring program? How did you hear of Maestra, and how did you end up there?
I have loved musical theater, of the idea of it. I'm always listening to cast recordings or something. So when the pandemic burst out, Seth Rudetsky started to making a segment in YouTube, The Stars in the House. I saw one of the segments in Georgia. Stitt was invited to it, and she talked about Maestra. And then when the opportunity of the mentorship came, I took it.
So at the beginning of the program, and this is kudos to Meg Zervulis and everybody who helped her put the program together, we had these mixers on Zoom, kind of like virtual cocktail hours so we could meet people. And the first thing I thought was like, oh my gosh, I need a mentor. Like everyone here is so great and so smart and so talented and, so accomplished. But I think is also one of the most valuable things that I'm getting out of this is like just reaffirming like a habit every day of like, oh, we never stop learning. We never stop learning. Like I still need a mentor. I'm learning from you. Like you send me YouTube links of music I've never heard of. And it's so cool. And this is particularly like as a theater musician, like all of us are multidisciplinary. None of us are just a pianist. You go into the practice room and you learn a piece and then you perform it at a recital. That's not the kind of musicians we are. Like it's a very collaborative and multidisciplinary thing. So I guess like I'm curious, what inspires you? Like when you write something, how do you get started?
So I grow up in a way that when I see something, it's related to everything that is around that. So I think that's why I enjoy these musicals productions on multidisciplinary artist productions, because they not only work like that, but they like champion it. They try like to defend it and to show it to the world that we are not just like this, or we are not just in this box.
I think for me, when I write something, like I have to start with a structure, whether that's like, I'm going to write a 32-bar song. I have to have some kind of frame, or I start with a little brick, like a little piece, and create a frame for it. As artists, we're like holding truths that seem to be contradicting each other in the same hand. And it's like both of these things are true. I know that my habit is like, I see something that's like across the mountains over there. I'm like, I want that thing over there. And I'm very grateful to have met some people, especially through Maestra, who are like, that also the type of people who understand like, okay, to get there, you need the next steps.
The most important thing that I think this pandemic has teach us is that the most important in all of the world are people, the people you care, the people you love, the people who teach us, the people you get angry with, everything. The important things is music and people. So I would like to have both. And I will also would like to keep talking to you in 5 years from now.
Likewise. Likewise.
Back in the fall, I was commissioned by a theater company called Live and in Color to write a song for a student at Emerson College. I created a character for him who was a Black Lives Matter organizer who was seeing his baby niece for the very first time. And he expresses to her his fatigue and frustrations and fears and his hope for a brighter future for her in a song called My Little Savior. Tonight, My Little Savior will be performed by Tony, Grammy, and Emmy-nominated performer Brandon Victor Dixon.
I've been bruised and I've been battered and I've been left for dead. Spent so much time confined in my solitary heart. Sometimes all I can do is just drive my car, looking for something, trying to get lost, trying not to feel the weight of it all. And I wanna give up, I wanna check out of this life. I wanna feel liberated from this daily hell. And every day the only thing that gets me through is the thought of you and what you can do, my little savior. I've been jostled on this journey, searching for the light, wading through the mud, just trudging through this moonless night. Sometimes I raise my head, looking for a star, looking for something, trying to get found, trying to see the good of it all. And I wanna give up, I wanna check out of this life. I wanna feel liberated from this daily hell. And every day the only thing that gets me through is the thought of you and what you can do, my little savior.
And welcome back. Andrea, how are the donations coming?
Very exciting. Lots of wonderful support coming in from all of you. Thank you. Keep it coming. We're so excited about this, and we're going to do wonderful things with the support you provide.
Yes, absolutely. And to give you an idea of where your money actually goes, for example, $100 pays a teacher for a 1-hour virtual technical workshop.
Yeah, so this is a lesson online where hundreds of people can sign up, work with a musical master, and learn everything about digital music production to orchestration. It's an incredible learning opportunity for so many, and your $100 provides that.
Yes. And for $500, that supports a single mentor-mentee pairing, just like the one we saw with Kat and Nicole. And it supports that for 6 months.
And especially during this time when we're all at home and isolated, it could mean the beginning of a new musical.
Absolutely right. Starring Andréa Burns. Now, $1,000 supports a regional Maestra group. And we have Maestra groups in Nashville, Los Angeles, even as far as Australia, and it would support that regional group for an entire year.
Which is tremendously exciting. The ladies are spreading their beautiful influence all over the world.
Absolutely. So great. Thank you. We know it at this time, at any time, it's hard to give money and keep giving money, but it is, hopefully you can see how important this organization is, and it's just exactly where this money is going.
It'd be exciting when we all come back and we see all of the new projects and albums and shows and concerts that have been created during this time, especially by women. And that'll be because of you.
Exactly. So thank you very much. And now, back to the show.
In 2017, New York City Center Encore's Off Center did a production of my musical, The Bubbly Black Girl Sheds Her Chameleon Skin. It starred the unbelievably gifted Nikki James as Vivica Stanton, a young black girl growing up in the civil rights era who masked her vulnerability, rage, and confusion with the bubbliest of smiles as she struggled to maintain a positive outlook on a world which did not view little black girls like her positively. Nikki was superb in the role, giving a beautifully nuanced performance. Not to mention, Nikki is a triple threat. Hell, Nikki is a septuple threat, and a few more tuples after that, in my opinion. She is joined in the following song by 3 extraordinary septuple threats themselves, women who I would love to extol their praises a little bit more in this snippet of an intro. They are Tanya, Go On With Your Bad Self, Birl, Kenita, Queen of Mount Olympus, Miller, and Shelley, Act Your Ass Off and Have One of the Most Gorgeous Voices in Musical Theater, Thomas. I'm extremely honored to have these mega talents performing one of the very first songs that I ever composed and about which I still feel strongly content-wise even to this day. So without further ado, Nikki James, Tanya Birl, Kenita Miller, and Shelley Thomas sing The Skate from The Bubbly Black Girl Sheds Her Chameleon Skin.
Junior high school called Louis Pasteur.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to our gifted performers. I had the very good fortune of working with two wonderful women lyricists, Betty Comden of Comden and Green. When I did the revival of On the Town, I got to work right with Betty, and she was fantastic. Of course, Comden and Green have written so many wonderful Broadway musicals. And then Dorothy Fields, I did Annie Get Your Gun, and it was her idea to do a musical about Annie Oakley, and she brought it to Irving Berlin. She, of course, had written Sweet Charity and did shows with Cy Coleman. She wrote a wonderful standard that I just love singing called Just the Way You Look Tonight. It's so in the moment and much like dialogue. Maestra is such a wonderful organization, mentoring women in 25 countries, professionals teaching musical theater, where so many women will get opportunities to pursue their dreams. Thank you to all of you who donated tonight. I can't wait to see what kind of beautiful music is going to be happening in our future, and you're helping to make that happen. Thank you so much.
Wow. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you for those amazing performances by Nikki, Tanya, Kenita, and Shelley, and Eva and Reeve.
And Ashley and Brandon, such wonderful work. Thank you to Kirsten, Aeneas, Helen, and Rona for their moving and inspiring songs.
Oh, and special shout outs to Julianne Merrill and Annastasia Victory, who music directed. Beautifully, I might add.
Yes. So if you like what you've heard here tonight and want to make sure there's more songs, more shows, and more voices, please donate and show some love to Maestra.
Yes. Thank you to everyone who has contributed thus far, and thanks to everyone who will contribute. A new song to me. I like a mid-tempo with a nice little dance break spot in the middle and not too many lyrics.
Well, speaking of new songs, we have one that's getting its premiere tonight.
But before we hear that, can I just say how much I've loved doing this with you, Andréa. I miss you. And I look forward to seeing you in person again soon.
I miss you too. And you are the first on my list when we are allowed to do so, to get a great big hug. Yeah. I can't wait to see you back on stage and doing what you do best.
Oh, you're so kind. But I think male burlesque is no longer a thing.
We'll find you something.
Can always dream. Now, how about that new song you were talking about?
Yes, it's a world premiere, and we've gathered Maestra members to come together to perform this brand new song by Lynne Shankel. It's called Amplify.
Thank you, everyone, for this extraordinary evening of music and celebration. It has been my honor to be your host.
Mine too. It means the world to me to support this important organization founded by my dear friend. I hope you've all had a wonderful night.
And now, the finale.
Amplify.
Tick-tock goes the clock. Another morning staring at the ceiling. How much longer can this go on? Tick-tock, taking stock. Counting my blessings but can't shake the feeling. All this quiet seems so wrong. But it's funny, there is a silence that I long for. A hush I know so well. Can't define it, it it's not a thing that you can look for. How to find it, I just can't tell. It's a moment, a stillness, anticipation. Hands on the keys, picking your hands, sticks in the air. The lights go down, I look across the stage and catch your eye. And we amplify the setting to dial in, electrify, turn it up to 10, turn it around again, intensify. The band is kicking in, the groove is happening when it's you and me. It's music, it's community. Boost it up, build it up, step it up, turn it up. We play it loud and strong when we amplify our song. Na 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 na, na 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 na. Tick tock, so we rock. Another evening blowing through the ceiling. How much longer can this go on? Tick tock, time in life. Counting my blessings, don't wanna shake the feeling. Every tension now is gone. But it's funny, it's more than music that we're making. It's how I feel with you. Can't define it, but it's something we're not faking. A bonded force of fierceness no one ever can deny. When we amplify, turn it up to 10, turn it around again for you and me. For music and community. Boost it up, build it up, turn it up, jack it up. Together we are more, and this is how we run. There's a story we've been told since we were running in pigtails. Boy, the story is old. This dainty lady swooning at tea and damsels in distress. A woman's place is in the home and in a pretty little dress. What a mess, I confess my distress. It's an alarming situation when your definition is your damnation, but not by your own creation. They say it's only dudes who rock. These chicks could not possibly walk the walk they pick and talk. But my pen is a sword, and this song I scored, it cuts like the bits of a power cut. So we move it forward toward a world that will tell or she tell. 'Cause the future is Tick-tock goes the clock. Another morning staring at the ceiling. How much longer can this go on? Tick-tock, taking stock. Counting my blessings but can't shake the feeling. All this quiet seems so wrong. But it's funny, there is a silence that I long for. A hush I know so well. Can't define it. It's not a thing that you can look for. How to find it, I just can't tell. It's a moment, a stillness, anticipation. Hands on the keys, picking your hands, sticks in the air. The lights go down, I look across the stage and catch your eye. And we amplify the setting to dial in. Electrify, turn it up to 10, turn it around again. Intensify, the band is kicking in, the groove is happening when it's you and me. It's music, it's community. Boost it up, build it up, step it up, turn it up. We play it loud and strong when we amplify our song. Na 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 na, na 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 na. Tick tock, so we rock. Another evening blowing through the ceiling. How much longer can this go on? Tick tock, time and lock. Counting my blessings, don't want to shake the feeling. Every tension now is gone. But it's funny, it's more than music that we're making. It's how I feel with you. Can't define it, but it's something we're not faking. A bonded force of fierceness, no